Hey cats, it's your midsole man Eddbud here. Today I've got a look at a new shoe for you from Kiprun. This is the outlandishly purple Kiprun Kd900X LD PLUS. You don't know how many times I've had to try and say that. I reviewed the Not Plus version of this last year and it was a capable enough tempo shoe. But this time we got even more of that premium foam from Kiprun. Does it make for a better marathon option? Let's find out. Kiprun have sent this one over to me for review, but they're not paying me to make this video, nor will they get to vet my views before my valued viewers get to see them. Straight off the bat, this one retails for 200 quid, so I'm certainly not going to be reviewing it from a value carbon plate marathon shoe perspective, okay? The LD Plus comes in about 266 grams for my UK 11, so that's 9.3 ounces. If you like that sort of thing. Back here in the heel, I'm measuring about 42 millimeters of stack height and about 36 up front. So yeah, it's close to the measurements that they give in terms of a 4mm drop. Don't forget, as the shoes get bigger, the stack increases. I know that some people are saying that my measurements are wrong or whatever. No, the sample size is what most reviewers will give you. For my pair, I'm telling you, there's about 42 millimeters here. So you do feel quite elevated off the ground, but it's on par with most other carbon plate racers out there. I got about 12.2 centimeters of width up front at the widest point there, and about 9 in the heel, so it is a bit on the narrower side back here. Foam comes in, Sure A, durometer score of 25. It's a Peba based foam, it is very light. I'd suggest it doesn't have quite the same responsive capabilities as the Zoom X foam from Nike. We'll kick it off with the upper first. Upper materials here, well, I'm finding them quite spacious actually, and the fit in the forefoot is pretty wide, so if you've got a wider foot then the Kiprun could be just what you're looking for. If you've got a narrower foot, I think you might have a few problems with bunching of that material. That's exactly what I've had. My foot's a little bit on the narrower side. It is certainly generous here in the upper. Would I go down half size? Well, I don't think that's going to solve the problems really. It's mainly the actual construction of the shoe. It just seems to be a little bit more on point if you've got a normal width to wide foot. Laces are that quite rigid flat style here, and I feel again that they have a slight ribbon-like quality about them, and I don't think they're doing the upper any favours. I think a slightly more stretchy lace here would actually complement the upper materials better. It would mean there's not quite so much pressure on top of the foot here through the actual tongue area. I might try switching those out in the future if I persist with the shoe to try and improve the fit. I had to lace them up pretty tight to avoid some heel slip here in the shoe. It's not a massive improvement over the KD900, which I felt, again, had that similar feeling over the top. We just need more padding here, Kiprun. The rigidity of the shoe does mean that you need to really lace down quite hard to actually get the best out of it. There is some additional padding, actually, underneath the tongue around this area, but it needs to be a bit further back. If you're going to use a runner's knot, you're going to get some lace pressure around the top of the foot here. The ankle material here, it's just, again, really generous. I don't know why they've included this here. Maybe like a pull tab, but it's just not needed. I can't see anyone wearing these for like a triathlon or something where that's a bit of an issue. You've got a couple of pods back here in terms of foam to actually lock you into the shoe. I mean, the upper looks nice. It's a great looking shoe, in fact. I just feel they can limit back the materials a bit. Just come up with something that's a little bit more streamlined. Yeah, if you're trying to make an ultralight racer, you know, this one's 266 grams. So it's quite a bit heavier than something like the Adios Pro 4. You know, get rid of some of this extra stuff that you don't need, Kiprun. It's a slightly more nuanced fit, though, than the KD900X LD that I tried out a little while ago. Sorry if I've got some of the names wrong, but again, Kiprun, you need to simplify the names here if you want to sell lots of shoes. Just call it the Marathon Racer or something. It's just easier for people to figure it out. So it's okay in terms of the upper. I managed to get a reasonable fit in the end, but it's not my favourite part of the shoe. It's not without issue. It's okay for a wider foot, I guess. I'll give it a 2.5 out of 3 for the upper so far. Midsole now. It's a full Peba blend here, so it's soft, it's bouncy, it's quite fun to run in, I've got to say. I think some people might struggle a bit with the 4mm drop. I actually quite like it. Does seem like you can go up through the gears reasonably quickly, and it's quite smooth at marathon pace, though probably not my go-to option for like 5 or 10k effort. Having a lower drop means you're going to get a little bit more strain on the ankles, rather than of course a higher drop, which is going to put more load on the knees. As such, I always find the lower drop in a carbon plated shoe a little bit of a strange kind of oddity. The Alphafly Next Percent original, I think that was like a 4mm drop they reported, but to me it always felt a bit more like a negative drop. This shoe to me seems to favour a mid-foot landing over anything else. The heel is very hollowed out here, as is part of the midfoot, and you'll find the sort of arch area here is just basically missing. Seems to be a trend of like carbon plate shoes at the moment where they're just chopping out this section. It likes a faster cadence, this one, it has to be said, and roundabout sort of tempo pace, like half marathon or marathon effort, that's where it really feels at home. Easy runs, it just feels a little less comfortable, not as fluid. That's perhaps due to the focused rubber that we've got here in the forefoot. I can't say I found this shoe all that unstable. I know it's got quite a narrow section here in the heel. A few reviewers have mentioned that they found it unstable, but I'm not really sure about that. Maybe that's down to me having more of a midfoot landing as I get older. I'm trying to ease the pain on the aging knees. I know I'm handsome, but I am a little bit older than I look. Now, the V-Foam Plus stuff here in the midsole is certainly different to what I've tried out before from Kiprun. It's a bit more airy. It feels a little bit like a representation of what we had in the Vaporfly and some of those sort of out-and-out race shoes that we've all enjoyed over the last few years. Though I have to say it does feel significantly more durable, sort of protected, I suppose, than Nike Zoom X Foam. Now, the cushion here is certainly welcome. There's a lot of it. If you're doing like increased distances, you want like a good training shoe, I suppose this could be ideal. But the price point is already starting to creep into my mind at 200 quid. You know, is this better than the Puma Deviate Nitro Elite 3? Well, I don't think it is. I mean, you've got discounted pairs of the Vaporfly 3 out at the moment for like about 170 quid, so it's a no-brainer, right? The plate certainly seems to be more of a stabilizing element here. It's a little bit flatter in terms of the feel. Don't really feel it all that much in terms of toe off. I just think it's stabilizing the very, very soft, large amount of foam. So perhaps not the greatest I've tried out, but it's certainly a reasonable shoe, perhaps one that's available to you if you have a Decathlon store nearby. I'll give it a 2.6 out of 3 for the midsole so far. Outsole. I've tried this out on road, I've tried it out on pavements, mainly on concrete, and it feels okay so far. The rubber's reasonably grippy, it's got a nice sort of malleable texture to it. It's not too hard. A lot of these type of race shoes in very wet conditions don't work all that well. This one seems to be okay so far. Tried it on a few slippery areas and it was alright. Rubber's a little bit tougher than on some other race shoes we've got, and it's a little bit thicker in terms of the application, so might enhance the durability somewhat. The rubber does stretch right back into the heel as well, so if you do heel strike in your shoes, then it might be that this is going to protect you a little bit longer than some of the others. And the other great thing about the outsole here, it's reasonably easy to like clean up and like liberate any dirt and muck. Doesn't take long at all to do that. I can't be said for all other shoes. I think a slightly thinner spreading of rubber here, this sticky stuff, could have improved the shoe's weight. It's certainly a little bit heavier than some of the other models out there. That's despite the fact we got these large cutouts of that exposed midsole foam. I mean, the Vaporfly Next Percent was super light. Yeah, it was top drawer, that shoe. And that didn't have any of this sort of carving stuff here. So how did Nike do it? They kind of had it right the first time, didn't they? So usable on most routes, but I would like to test it out in some more wet conditions. It's been reasonably dry the last few weeks. I'll give this one a 2.6 out of 3 for the outsole so far. Value now. Value-wise, can't really review this one as a value carbon racer anymore. This is like 200 notes. I mean, it's more expensive than one of Puma's models, and it's heavier. Quite considerably heavier actually than the Puma one. The upgraded materials in the midsole do actually elevate the shoe in terms of performance. It does feel closer to some of those other marathon racers now, but I would expect a weight relieved upper for that type of money to truly make it a viable carbon plate marathon contender. At 200 quid, you just expect something a little bit lighter than this. I think it's not all that much lighter than something like the Zoomfly 6. You'd expect them to minimize the materials here in the upper and sort out that upper fit as well. The laces just don't really do the upper justice. When you consider the incoming Vaporfly 4 from Nike is going to be one of the lightest Vaporflies yet, and it's the word, isn't it, that everybody wants to hear. Oh, you know, how light is the shoe? Well, this is a little bit heavier. It's another reason why up-and-coming brands really need to be on point with their designs to make sure they're putting stuff out that's at least got a chance there to win a few runners over. If people can walk into a big box store and pick up one of the top super shoes for only like 20 quid more, then it's just a hard sell. Quality wise, out of the box, I've got to be honest, it's pretty good. There's no like dodgy glue or stitching anywhere. All the pieces seem to be put together well, and it is an improvement over the last trainer that I reviewed from Kiprun. That aside, I think at 200 notes there's better options. I'll give it a 2.5 out of 3 for value. If I've totaled the scores up correctly, that gives us 10.2 out of 12 for the Kiprun KD900X LD PLUS. I think that's what it's called anyway. Have you been testing out any of the running options from Kiprun? Let me know how you've got on, or your views and opinions on this shoe down in the comments. Very quick musical interlude for you. I was really excited to see that one of my favourite bands, Cheek Face, have released a new album. It's called Middle Spoon, and there's some absolute bangers on here. Really love the cover actually, with the pigeon eating the McDonald's fries. Living Lo-Fi is a great intro track to the album, really kicks things off with some intent. Super catchy chorus on this one and fantastic production. It's really simple and direct. When the guitars like really kick in, it really lifts up the track. There's some fantastic lyrics here too. Really love the backing vocals, really add some complementary kind of vibes to the main vocal. Whole album's great. They've just upped the production level just a little bit while still retaining the Cheek Face vibe. Go and check it out, people. New album from Cheek Face. This one's called Middle Spoon. Thanks for tuning in, people. Hope you enjoyed today's review. Hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up like. Drop us a comment too for the algorithm. My name's Eddbud, and I'll be seeing you